Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Knights of the Dawn podcast, and welcome to this special bonus episode for the end of Book 3, Grip of the Shadow Plague. We had some extra things that we wanted to talk about in this episode that we had been recording, and we decided to clump it all together and put it in this episode. So this is going to be a spoiler episode where we talk about things not only in Book 3, but also books 4 and 5 of Fablehaven and some things into Dragonwatch. So this is your official spoiler warning. If you've not read those books, you have been warned.
Yep. And I'm Jessica.
And I'm Megan.
And so, yeah, like Megan was saying, we did not anticipate how long, because we were doing 6-chapter chunks for this entire book. Like, we started that trend at the beginning of the second book, and it was working really, really well. Until we hit the end of this book.
Yeah.
And, this is seriously our fourth session, I think, as we mentioned in the last episode. And
the fourth session of 6-chapter, the last chunk of chapters.
It has taken us this much.
It has taken us, 2 months, at least,
and
to do this.
Compiled probably around 10 hours.
Yeah. But, 8. Not, 10 hours, but,
5 to 8.
Okay. I don't think the last one might be 2 to 3 hours long. So that's why we are cutting out some of the stuff and putting it in this episode.
Because we just completely underestimated how much we would have to talk about.
We went off on tangents. So that's what this episode is for. So it's the spoiler tangents. So welcome.
We hope you enjoy.
Yeah. My idea.
Wait, do you think it'll... Well, no, right now.
Not right now?
No, right now.
Okay.
Give me.
Because when Patton starts talking about Marshall and his, how it's I was trying to make a family tree.
Yes!
Because I was
yes!
What is the family tree of the Burgesses? And so I was trying to figure it out because I was just thinking about it a lot. And, of course I am. Because I'm a family history person.
There's nothing on Fablehaven Week.
No, and it's wrong, too, because the people don't know the difference between second cousin, first cousin once removed, and second cousin once removed, and anything, and they say, they're all second cousins. There's a difference because that means they're a different generation anyway. So I am confused. Also because I was looking and trying to find where it says their actual relationship, because he usually just says that, Warren and Dale and Kendra and Seth are cousins. And I feel like it said second cousin sometime, but I was searching the word cousin, and I couldn't find it. But then in the first book, when Lena is talking about Patton to Kendra, and then Kendra's like, oh, is Dale a pirate king or something? And he's like, no, he's just a second cousin of your grandfather's. Which is wrong! He accidentally changed it. Well, then no, because
it
then
could be a second cousin once removed.
No, because then that would probably be through the Burgess line, and then that would make Grandpa and Grandma related, and I'm not saying that's canon. We're not doing that. So he changed it later, or I don't know. He said it wrong. He's supposed to say grandmother, not grandfather, because they're not related. So
I'm just loving this.
I swear it says that Warren and them are second cousins to Kendra and Seth, which would make sense because then
I think during the second book, Kendra remarks about the fact that she kind of thinks Warren is cute. Which,
but
can't
then
we
she
blame
says
her?
I'm distantly related to him.
As she said, I think it's weird because we're cousins.
Yeah, well, but the thing is that I was searching for the word and I couldn't find where she says that.
In the second book?
Yes. I was like, okay, look, Kindle. I open it and I do search and I search for the word cousin. There's 3. One where Tanu's I have nieces and nephews and cousins. One says, and the other 2 are from the acknowledgments. Isn't that weird? Because I was thinking that too, because when she's like, oh, I have to kiss him to help him, and he's like, oh, but I'm related to him. And I swear, and I looked in the first book too, and it didn't say anything about cousin, except for Dale being Grandpa's second cousin, and I was like, this is incorrect. So yes, if you can help me figure out where that is said, that would be great.
I found where it says it. Well, not
where?
Says it. Would you mind giving Warren a kiss? The thought of her made her feel most because Warren was nicely looking on the lips, just a peck, and wasn't really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She tried to think of Warren as a catatonic patient who needed a strange cure, but he was cute, but her mind had the crush she had on her. Okay, so it doesn't say it right there. So we were wrong on that account.
Okay, but, like, the thing is that we both... It's like the Mandela effect. Because we both have,
we
like,
both
a memory
remember that.
of being, like, saying that, like, he's her cousin. But I can't remember when now. When does he say that?
So it says it in the first book that it's second cousin of her
grandpa. Yes. And I was like, that's not correct because Ruth is a Burgess. And also, I was trying to figure out because I feel like they also refer to Patton as like a great-great-uncle or something like that. Like, I think it's like Ruth's great-great-uncle. And so that would mean that she would have to be, let's see. Make sure I get this in my brain right. So she would probably be descended. She would have to be descended from one of Patton's siblings, one of his brothers specifically.
Because the name would have to be passed
Because it
down.
had to be it had to be Burgess, and he has to be an uncle, like a great uncle. So it'd be like your great grandfather's brother.
Yes. So it's a great great uncle.
Yeah, or great. I think it might be. Her great.
It might be the fourth. It might be in the fourth book when like we get like an introduction to Warren again.
And then I had like questions of like, who does Warrendale and Grandma descend from? And I was like, well, I guess it would have to be like a sibling of Patton's.
No, but they're second cousins.
Who's second cousins? That's the problem. Grandma and Warren and Dale, or Warren and Dale and Kendra and Seth, because they have to be second cousins if they're on the same line. And the thing is, like, I have to, like, map this out or else I get confused.
So we have Patton and Lena. So theoretically,
Patton should have
at
least one brother. And also with the time...
Who would have been the caretaker, because Patton was not the caretaker.
That's true. Or was he? Or no, he wasn't. No, okay, you don't have to show me. I feel like I do.
I need to confirm.
Because I feel like it was either like, well, he got away with like the key pages of the treaty, like he said after Marshall. Yes.
And he said it was at that point it was his grandfather.
Yeah, it was his grandfather, but Marshall was taking care of it, which I thought was interesting. So it was like, that's why I have like this Burgess is like the caretaker, but then Marshall, who was his son, was taking care of it.
I lied. He was caretaker.
Ah, okay, that's what I thought. But I think he gave it up after a while so that he could go do adventuring. So I think he was for a little bit.
The man was named Patton Burgess. He became caretaker of the property in 1878. So
1878. This is family history, but not real people. This is what I live for.
Inheriting the position from his maternal grandfather.
Okay.
He was a young man at the time, quite good looking, wore a mustache.
So he was probably...
And this was before he seduced.
I think he kind of says that too.
This was before he wooed. He wooed
yeah,
Lena.
Wooed is a better word. But you see what I mean? This is like such an interesting thing. I want to figure this out.
So when he escaped, he was caretaker. But there has to be a brother.
There has to be a time where he wasn't because he was off adventuring. Yeah, you can't leave when you're the caretaker.
Yeah, there's no way he was able to leave that frequently. No.
So I bet he was probably caretaker around the time from when Marshall died for like at least a couple years. And then he left to go adventuring. But...
See, he like in yet another way, Patton succeeded where Marshall failed. Because think about it. What was Marshall's main weakness? Women. What was Patton's main weakness?
Women. No. Adventuring. I don't know.
Exactly. The thrill. But he said, I'm going...
His weakness is Lena, to be fair.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
No, but like I was just like thinking of it and like he had like the same weakness as like he there was no way he could run the preserve.
Yeah.
Without like he was too much of a free spirit.
He's the world's greatest adventurer.
Yeah, and he had to keep adventuring.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm 100%. Like, he must have given it up. He would have probably given it to...
Probably, like, a nephew or something.
Yeah.
It would have to be, because canonically, Patton and Lena don't have any kids.
As far as we know.
Unless they have a kid that dies. Or, like...
Oof, that would hurt.
Off or something. I don't know. Because that's
we
why
still don't
would
know.
We not hear about them. There would have to be like a big reason for why we don't know about them. So yeah, for Patton to be grandma's, like, great uncle or great uncle, she would have to be descended from one of his brothers. And he would also have to have siblings.
I want to say that he's her
I think
great
it's
uncle. I want to say great uncle. I feel like they've said that before.
I know, but I can't find it.
It's gotta be. It must be.
I didn't search great uncles. Maybe search that.
It might be in a different book.
Maybe just say uncle and then see what happens. Yeah, that was another one of my questions. Who inherited Fablehaven from Patton? Probably like a nephew or something. And then when was Patton born? So if this is me thinking, he inherited in 1878. He donated the bones to Las Mesa, the dragon bones, in 1901. I went back and checked that. So that was the 1 year I remembered.
So
and
in the 23 years.
Also, I'm thinking these books came out like 2008 or so, 2009, 2010. Mm-hmm. In the 5th book, they need Coulter to go back to when Patton was like alive. Because Coulter's old enough.
Discrepancy.
Yeah.
Because it says here that it says in this book that Coulter was born a few years after Patton died.
I almost think that like Patton went back from that and was like, okay, I'm gonna try and live
I have to live a little longer.
I'm gonna pull through a little more, but he doesn't make 100, so it's less than 100. So I'm thinking he was born around the 18. I think he's born somewhere around the 1830s or 40s. That's my guess.
Well, if he was still a young man, she said he was a young man when he inherited it in 1878.
And Lena's
I would say
he can't be more than like 36. So maybe 40s.
At that point, they've been married for 5 years.
That's true.
I would say 50s. 50s? I would say late 40s to early 50s.
Hold on. 1878. Okay, but that's only if he was like officially caretaker. That's us assuming that that's when he took over from Marshall, like officially.
Well, I mean,
was dead.
probably at that point.
So, but that's before
Uncle never
they
comes
got
up.
married.
It's true. Yes.
So that would have to be after. So yeah, maybe.
So they had been married for 5 years.
Fine.
He took over
late 40s,
early 50s,
early 50s at most. Though.
Say he was like
he was
in his late 20s when he took over.
Maybe. It just. But then that messes up the timeline of the 5th book.
Why?
Because
Coulter
Patton's supposed to be like 90 years old.
When was Coulter born?
I don't know, probably in like the 30s or 40s. That's my guess. But the thing is that he doesn't say the year in the books in the present because, you don't want to date the books. So that was just me going off of like what year it was published. So that's probably not a good thing to do. Because then that would mean... Well, and that was me thinking that Coulter was probably in his 60s or 70s. Which I feel like is probably right?
He said it's a little older than Grandpa.
And I feel like Grandpa's probably in his
70s.
60s.
Well, I guess if he is pretty limber.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And like, he has young. The grandkids are all young.
Yeah, I bet Kendra and Seth's parents are probably
30s.
Yeah, 30s,
if not 40s, and then grandparents are probably in.
So let's see, Kendra's 16.
Imagining and they had her when they were about married, 25.
Yeah. 25. So.
Say 35.
41.
35 to 40, as her parents probably aged. And then probably give it another 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So probably, late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, I would say Grandpa's probably in his 60s, and then Coulter's probably in his 70s.
Mm-hmm. So give that 70 years from 2010. Yeah. Let's say that's 1940?
1940, which is what I was thinking.
So, yeah, you are right.
It could be, well, and then if Patton's not 100, it would probably be like late 40s, early 50s, like we said. So I guess it does make sense. Mm. It just doesn't sound like it.
Does that give enough generations, too? Like,
well,
if there's like,
okay.
So if we are saying that Coulter and by that extension Grandpa were born in about the 1940s.
1940s, 1950s, yeah.
And we're saying that Patton's probably Ruth's great uncle.
Probably her great uncle. Yeah.
So probably give it another 50. Oh, yeah, that does not really work. It would have to be great uncle.
No, hold on. It could be, let me think about this.
Yeah,
then that would be, she'd be around the same as around 1950s.
Yeah.
And then you go back like about 20 years, 20, 25 years. 25, that's one generation. That'd be her parents.
There would have to be, like, in order to make it...
Next generation would be around 1900, maybe. But the thing is that, like... Okay, hold on. 1900.
His brother could be a bit... His brother could be a bit younger than him, so...
Yeah, it could be, like, a lot younger brother. Mm-hmm. And so...
Either way, someone's having kids late.
Also, my guess is that Patton is probably the oldest.
Yeah.
Son.
That's why he
gives
gets
me oldest vibes. And
no kidding. Also,
back in, let me do my professional. Good, because this is fun. This is what I live for. This is really fun.
It's what
and also,
I do.
Back
it's what
then,
I live
Back
for.
then, kids were born about every 2 years to a couple until about the time that a woman turned about 40. So when she was about 40, she would not be in childbearing years anymore. So... if Patton's parents were about, 20 when they had him, they'd have another 20 years. And so that they could have a kid in, 1870s. If they lived. We don't know anything about his parents.
Yeah, sadly.
But Ruth does, they do have to be descended from his siblings to be a great uncle.
Yeah.
So... Patton has siblings that we don't know about.
Yes, somewhere. Patton, who you hiding?
Which is why I want to know the family tree.
But I also,
purchases.
Not even that, I want him to have siblings just so that, even if he is still the official caretaker, he can still say, my siblings are, because, it's already established that, none of the creatures really, respected Lena after she left the pond. The
true.
fairies were being jerks.
Yeah.
And if even the fairies are jerk, what's everybody else going to be doing? Mm-hmm. But, so I imagine he had to have at least somebody else there to take care of the preserve when he was off gallivanting.
Yeah. And I feel like because he has all of the respect of all the creatures on the preserve, he must have been caretaker for a decent amount of time to have that time to
maybe he
establish those relationships.
Yeah, maybe he did hold on to the caretaker title, but he did have maybe a brother or
to watch the preserve.
To help to do a Dale.
That's true.
To be a Dale.
Yeah. Well, also, it's like what Grandma and Grandpa Sorensen do.
Yeah.
One goes off, and then one's a chicken.
And one's a chicken. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. That
took me totally off guard. That was great.
I could tell. It just came out of my mouth. That really got you. Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that to go off so well.
If nothing else, I'm really tired. Yeah. I had work at 7:30 this morning.
That felt
good. Yeah, that was great.
All right.
Yeah.
And I also love that he's so excited to see her her again, even though he knows it's not the exact same Lena as
a little nervous.
Just left, but he's but also at the beginning he's he thinks that she's dead because he's at first has Lena passed and then kind of
a little nerd. I remember
actually
that.
She's a naiad again, and he's what?
But that makes it so that we can have one of the best battle couples ever.
Just the cutest reunion, and yes, they are the best couple for sure in these books. Rivaled only by someone else.
Are you referring to Warren and Vanessa, or are you
No.
talking to Kendra?
Bracken.
Okay. Yeah, Bracken.
They all Patton.
Bracken was great.
I mean, Bracken's the best in the 5th book. I don't talk about Dragonwatch.
Yes.
It's a sore point for me, anyway.
And for me. What would have happened if Kendra...
If she had done it?
If just Kendra.
Oh, if Kendra had touched the nail?
If just Kendra touches the nail.
Ah, that's interesting. Would she die, or would she just cancel it out because she's connected to the...
Because it says
interesting question.
It says it here that she is connected to the same source as the Fairy Queen.
Yeah.
Which she has this infinite. Not infinite, but
it's kind of infinite. It seems
it's she has this so. And Patton says the stone is shining almost as brightly as Kendra.
Yeah.
So could Kendra herself have just touched the nail with her finger? If I had to bet, I'd say it'd probably kill her, and that's why the Fairy Queen made the talisman, so that it wasn't just a like, there's only a possibility that we lose Kendra instead of a definite, like, and that's probably why she didn't tell her.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, she probably would. I bet the Fairy Queen would have known that Kendra. I think she probably could have, because of like what you were saying. But I bet the Fairy Queen probably knew that, and that's why she decided it's better to lose the shrine than
this
Kendra, my new handmaiden, which makes you realize how important Kendra is to the Fairy Queen. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
It just occurred to me when I saw that line from Patton, like, that showed signs. I was like, could Kendra have done the deed herself?
I think she could have, but it would have killed her.
What would have happened if the Fairy Queen had touched the nail?
I don't think it would kill the Fairy Queen.
You don't think so? Okay.
No, because she's the Fairy Queen.
But nail for gone to bubble?
Specific reasons. I don't know. Should I say spoiler reasons?
No.
I'll just cut it out. She's a unicorn too, so I feel like she is a
more
direct
connection
to the source.
That would probably.
Oh, that's a good question. What would happen if you touched a what if Kendra was holding Bracken's horn and touched it to the nail? What would happen then? Ooh. Would it? I don't know if she would die then. Because I feel like the unicorn horns have a more direct connection to the source, because Kendra has to hold the pebble until it's time, so she's like rejuvenating it. So I don't think the pebble has much. She's stabilizing it, but I don't feel like because she has to do that, I don't feel like the pebble has as much of a connection to the source as Kendra does. But I feel like unicorn horns do, because that's how they have the font of immortality.
Also, I feel like that's why like the stone itself is not connected to the source. I think it's just it has
the power within it. From the shrine.
It's like the diamonds and gems from Aragon that can store magical energy.
Oh my gosh. It's the same thing! Okay? That's so funny that we're making so many connections. Yeah, it is.
It's on the brain.
No, it is. That's true.
It's the same thing. Because humans and dragons, they have the energy that's in themselves, and they can replenish it to themselves.
Explain for anyone who has not read Aragon. In Aragon, I'm just
I thought we were cutting this out.
Oh, I kind of like this discussion. This is a good discussion. So anyone who's not read Aragon, there's the magic language they call the ancient language, and they have you can build up energy as you get better at speaking the ancient language, and you can store power into inanimate objects like stones or gems or things like that.
Specifically, mostly
gems, yeah, because I think they're more pure. And so you can store energy into those gems to use later and then pull it out as you need, kind of like a reserve of power.
Because if the way the magic works, if you want to lift a pebble from the ground to eye level, it will take the same amount of energy as if you were to have walked over to the pebble and lifted it up.
Yeah.
And so basically, then I will take all of my excess energy over time and just store it in these little gems. So then I'm not limited by whether or not I ate enough today before this battle.
Yeah. So basically if you need to do some big giant magical deed, you can draw on the reserved power that you had put into the gems to do a larger magical deed than you would have been capable if you hadn't had that extra energy. So that's kind of what we're talking about with the pebble, is that it has all the stored energy from the shrine, but it's probably not connected to the source. It just has that excess energy.
It is very finite.
Yeah, I think you're right. Or else they would have had it afterwards, which they don't. Spoiler. Just kidding. Okay. Any other spoilery questions or musings? Because that was interesting. Okay, so wait. Do you think Kendra would live if she took a unicorn horn and touched it to the nail? I almost think she would. With a unicorn horn. And I don't know if it really matters which, because they're all purifying. I mean, she uses it to kill a dragon. I feel like
that dragon's different. That. That's tough.
I almost think,
because dragons are very powerful.
I almost don't think it would kill her. It would probably knock her out. It might be close, but I don't know if it would actually kill her. I don't know. What do you think? You think she would die? If she put a unicorn horn if she used a unicorn horn and pushed it to the nail, do you think it would destroy the nail?
I think,
or do you think it would purify it? I think so too.
Yeah, I think Kendra's gonna get very exhausted. I think it'll be close.
Yeah.
I think she'll pull out, but it'd be close because it's almost the same concept of. Because the horn's the same thing though. The horn is also finite.
Is it though?
Yes, because Kendra, like they say, okay, Seth and Kendra both have to go in to kill Steletta poison dragon, because Kendra has to keep it powered. And like they say, as they get it on her, she feels the horn heat up in her hand as it's like depleting her. So I think it's finite.
But
it might.
How else would the horn be used by people who aren't Kendra or the unicorns?
Well, it's the same way as like other magical items are used. It may have a larger capacity, and it is it is a very powerful object, but it is still finite. I bet it would last longer than the stone, which is why I think if Kendra was using it, she probably would pull out. But
I get what you mean. I don't know if I'm convinced that it's like completely finite though. Like the unicorn horn, because it comes from a unicorn. And so obviously the unicorns themselves are connected to the source, but I feel like the horns are a part of the unicorns. So I feel like the horns are connected to the unicorns, which are then connected to the source. You kind of get what I mean?
Yes.
So I don't think it's as finite as I don't think finite is the right word, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Doesn't have as much of it's not as well conducting. It's not as conductive.
I don't know, but I still feel like it would. I think it would probably work.
Maybe that, because he does say like she has to keep the horn powered, and that's why she has to go in to get the dragon. Otherwise, they would have sent like Warren in or Tanu in with a giant potion.
Well, I think it's that she like gives it more power, but I don't think. I don't know if I'm convinced that it would drain the horn. Because I don't think we've ever seen, like, a unicorn horn or heard of, like, anything like a unicorn horn losing its power, you know? Because it's used for years by, like, the centaurs. Well, and...
you have, like, what's his name?
Ronadin?
Coulter's glove. He uses that for years and years and years, and it never goes out. Like, these, like, magical artifacts are designed to last as long as possible.
But a unicorn horn isn't a magical artifact. It's part of a magical creature. And the glove has its finite things where it only works if you don't move. It's a hard question.
It's a very difficult question.
It's not where I was expecting to go, but this is interesting.
No, very. I don't know. I think if Kendra's using a horn, I think she pulls out.
Yeah.
Maybe the horn doesn't make it.
Does the horn get corrupted?
Ooh.
Like Ronadin. Now we're going to Dragonwatch territory, but I don't care.
If nobody's touching the horn.
Ooh, if someone else uses it and not Kendra.
If Kendra's not holding
the
horn.
Does the nail corrupt the horn? Because how does Ronadin's horns get corrupted? Because touching another horn to Ronadin's horns purifies them. So I feel like touching like a dark talisman might
do the trick.
Do it. If it's not someone who's also... It's not a unicorn or Kendra, basically, who's holding it.
Or maybe a unicorn who doesn't care.
Oh, yeah.
Ronadin, I imagine.
Well, I feel like Ronadin, like...
Dark side, baby, they have cookies.
I bet, like, Ronadin could have done it because he probably cut himself off from the source.
Interesting. Now we're adding Dragonwatch to this point.
Yeah, I don't really care. This is an interesting conversation.
I think anybody else connects them. I think horn gets corrupted and person gets shadowed or killed. Gets dead, yeah.
Yeah.
If a unicorn... Well, because, I mean, there's different level of power of unicorn. Because, the Fairy Queen is the first unicorn.
Yeah.
She is the most powerful unicorn.
She's the most powerful, yeah. She's the first fairy. Oh, yeah.
First fairy... Well, is she the first unicorn?
No, she's not the first fairy. She's not the first fairy. I said that wrong.
No,
you're right.
She introduces herself as the first fairy at one point.
She's not the first fairy. The Alder Fairy is the first fairy.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
That's okay.
Anyways. You're right. Sorry.
You're good.
I think Fairy Queen does it with one of her horns.
Okay.
I think she's got it. Ooh,
earlier,
Kendra wearing the Fairy Queen's crown.
Oh, Kendra would not die. She would take it down immediately.
Would take it down.
Okay, earlier I said I didn't think it mattered which horn, but now I think it does. Because the third horn is more powerful because that's how they create the Font of Immortality. And I don't think they could have done the Font of Immortality from the second or first horn. So, do you think it matters with the third horn as much with the first horn? Because the third horn is obviously more powerful.
Does the first horn have... Did they ever say anything like, it is a unicorn's first horn?
It can do this.
It is special because it has these capabilities.
It does say, I don't think it says like specifically the first horn, but it does say unicorn horns purify. But it doesn't, I don't know if it actually says. I'd have to go back in the 5th book where they talk about first, second, and third horns.
Like, if Kendra's holding the first horn and she's also holding the second horn, is there any difference in what she can do?
Maybe, because they have, let's see, in the 5th book, when they're being chased by the society, and they bring Bracken's second horn, Bracken is like, come to me, and he like gets the horn, and it turns into a sword, and I don't think he can do that. Idiot. I don't think he can do that with his first horn.
You don't think so? You don't think first horn can also be used as a sword?
I don't think so.
Can the third horn can be used as a sword?
I think the third horn can do anything. Within reason, but you know what I mean. Like, it could do anything that the first and second horn could do.
I mean...
Because that's the only one that they can use to turn into a unicorn
so it's
horse.
Obviously more...
It's the most... And that's obviously the only one that they could use for the Font of Immortality.
It required the third horn.
Yeah. Because they specifically say Bracken's third horn.
Mm-hmm. And that's why he's now human.
Yeah.
Bracken's first horn... After he's cut himself off and assumed mortal life.
Mm-hmm. Is it then finite?
Yes. I believe so.
I want to say yes, but then you think about his third horn, which is the Font of Immortality still. Does that make it finite, or does it still have a connection to the source? Does it have to be connected to Bracken to be connected to the source? Because if so, then can it still be the Font of Immortality? Or is it different from the first horn because it's the third horn?
That would make life a lot simpler if he does, like the Font of Immortality suddenly. Oh, what can you do? It's broken. Now we can't get into the 2.0.
No, but then that would make it impossible to get into, and it can't be impossible to get into. And then that would unravel it.
It would just make it less likely, because then you'd have to be born during the the one time in 1,000 years that it's open.
I don't think that counts, does it? Because then that does make it impossible, and then I feel like that unravels it because of the laws that it has to be nearly impossible, but not impossible. And then I feel like that would unravel it if one of the artifacts
disappeared. Your friend here ain't dead. He's only nearly dead.
I don't know where to end this conversation, but it's interesting speculation. I forgot where I was going with this.
Another question for Brandon Mull. The source and unicorn horns and Kendra.
Yes.
Like, what's happened?
How is it connected?
What is the PvP matchup? All right.
Can unicorn horns continue to be with Bracken? How do his horns continue?
Or even after a unicorn has died? Period. Yeah. What happens to their horns?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there is one part at the end of the book. So this is spoiler territory. At the end of the book, Kendra gets a letter from Gavin.
Oh, yes.
And when we were recording the normal episode, we had to act like, oh, yeah, Gavin, so nice first crush, whatever. And now we can really talk crap about
Satan.
Him. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Again, spoiler.
Freaking Navarog. Manipulating her.
You know what I noticed? I noticed at the very end, Kendra, Navarog has not really been mentioned almost at all since Graul has brought him up.
That's true, yeah.
And interesting. I really like this little foreshadowing moment that Brandon Mull brings him up.
Yes.
When Kendra is kind of doing her reflection over.
I noticed that
she
too.
Says, oh, where is
She's
it?
Thinking about the Sphinx and
yes. We're having to what's going to happen with the Sphinx and Navarog. Like, it's just like an internal monologue that she's having.
Yeah.
And then, like, within a few pages, let's read Warren. Let's read Gavin's letter.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I see what you're doing there, Brandon Hall. I see what you're doing.
Let's read Gavin's letter in the real light. Now that we know that he's a filthy, lying traitor and an evil person. So, Dear Kendra, I'm very sorry I can't be there to escort you home.
I'm very sorry I can't continue
to spy on you.
And
be helping with your abduction.
Yeah.
Imminent abduction.
Yes, and like further ingratiating your feelings towards me.
Crazy news from Dugan, huh?
I wasn't involved with that at all.
I can hardly believe how upside down everything has become.
Not that I'm helping with that at all.
It was all me in Las Mesa. I knew there was something shady about good guys wearing masks.
It's a good thing I'm not a good guy.
They've done away with them now.
Makes it easier for me to tell who I need to eat.
Yeah. The secret's out about the Sphinx,
Do you want me to stop doing the little...
No, it's fine. The secret's out about the Sphinx, but I'm still a traitor and no one... Or not even a traitor. Like, he wasn't on their side to begin with, but I'm still a spy and no one knows.
He's a snake. He's a literal snake.
I'm off on another mission.
I'm going and causing more chaos.
Yeah. Nothing as dangerous as what we went through together, but another chance for me to prove myself useful.
AKA, I'm really bored, and I really wish I could be doing something way more chaotic and destroying you and probably killing you and everything.
Or proving himself useful to the society.
Mm-hmm.
I'll fill you in later.
Can't wait for my evil monologue.
Guess why I like letters? No stuttering.
I don't have to act.
I'm gaslighting you into believing that I have a stutter. You're an amazing person, Kendra. I want you to know how much I have appreciated getting to know you.
How much I have appreciated getting to weasel myself into your affections.
To know my enemy's ways. This is so much creepier knowing that he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll get a turn standing guard over you and your brother in the fall so I can kidnap you. I hope someday soon we'll get to know each other better.
When you're in prison.
When you're my prisoner. Your friend and admirer.
As in, I think you'll taste good when I eat you.
Gavin.
Navarog. That was really entertaining for me, I'm not gonna lie.
All the side notes provided by Jessica. And sometimes by me.
No, Megan, you killed it with some of those.
That was fun. And so, I got to this part and I made a note. And you know what my note says?
I want to
At the end of the letter where it says, your friend and admirer, I said, you lying piece of...
Megan!
I didn't write the actual word, but I was thinking it. I mean, you know what I mean.
You lying piece of dragon dung. Dragon dung.
Shiz?
I kind of like dragon dung. It's very nice. It rolls off the tongue.
You lying piece of... Anyway. So, yeah. That was kind of a... It's, You get to read it with new eyes.
Do you think it was planned?
The letter?
That Gavin was going to be the traitor.
Yeah.
I think yes as well. Just because, the elaborateness of the Las Mesa scheme.
Yeah, Las Mesa wouldn't make as much sense without him.
How...
they just don't know who it was, so it was definitely planned.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely supposed to be in from the beginning. And also... Brandon Mull loves having people betray Kendra's trust.
Yeah!
There's always someone who's double-crossing them. And not even just in Fablehaven. It happens in Dragonwatch, too. So, yeah. No, it definitely was
scum
planned.
Of the earth.
Yeah. Stupid Navarog. But, I mean, that's what he likes to be.
I do actually really like when he does completely switch personalities in the fourth book.
Oh, yeah.
When
you see the facade completely go away.
And it's actually really good.
It's so good. It's it's crazy to just see who he really is.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kendra has to quickly, be like, no, he's my enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And
And actually I think that kind of helps Kendra, just with him being so completely two-faced.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And then he gets bitten in half. Like Rextus. I'm so excited to talk about Rextus. I love Rextus. Well, thank you guys for tuning into our bonus episode. We hope you guys enjoyed. And
as much as we did.
Hope it wasn't too jarring to switch between subjects. So
it's going to be absolutely... There's going to be no way to link them.
We'll try our best not to make it too jarring in the editing. But yeah, we'll that probably won't work very well. But hope it was entertaining.
It's going to be chaos.
Anyway, yeah. So if you have any thoughts on all the things that we discussed... Make sure to send us an email at knightsofthedawnpodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment on the YouTube. And we just enjoy and love you guys' support and everything. And can't wait to start book 4. Until next time, I'm Megan.
And I'm Jessica.
Have a good day and see ya.
Drink the milk.